It's about 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 16th, 2023. Moving them to a new row. In a few minutes here, we're going to get some rain and thunderstorms and stuff. But I gave them 200 feet wide row this time instead of 100 feet. So now this area here is 200 by 150 feet. So what is that? 3,000 square feet? That sounds about right. 30,000 square feet. Hold on a second. 2 times 150 is 300. Put 2 zeros in the end. That's 30,000 square feet. That sounds about right. 200 feet by 150, 30,000 square feet. So I was talking with a guy today, and this is because one of my commentators is saying, hey, plant some corn. The corn can carry you to the summer off of the spring grass. And so I've been asking around town. I've been talking to everybody, anybody that sells seed. And I was able to interview this guy who's been in this area for quite a while, about 30 years. And he does rotational grazing once daily moves. Obviously, it's not Greg Judy's system. It's an entirely different system. That's a preview of the grass coming up next move. Anyway, so a lot of pointers he gave me about stuff that I need to check. He had some recommendations for some legumes I can try in my pasture. But one of the things that he really recommended is this product called humate, which is supposed to help the nutrients absorb better into the plants. Look at those calves, they're so happy. And so I got to get a soil test to see what I got, because if there's no nutrients in the soil, then there's no point in helping the plants absorb it better. Obviously, he hasn't seen my pasture. I've only given him brief, vague descriptions of what it is. But he gave me a lot of ideas, including he had an idea for a species of cow, breed of cow, called the Tuli, which apparently is a South African native breed that is extremely docile. And they were trained to return home, otherwise the lions would get them. And so they don't wander off. And he says they'll have a calf on your back doorstep, because normally the angus will wander off to someplace private, have a calf, and you won't see her for 3 or 4 days. Right? Oh, there's metal tag. Hey, there's some really good grass here. Let's take a look at this grass, because this can't all be wheat, because I didn't seed that much wheat. There is, look at that ground cover in there. Yeah, there's like the hairy vetch is here again. Yet again, hairy vetch. His point also was that you only get so much nitrogen from the bacteria in the soil, and the legumes contribute almost nothing. There is cowpeas, however. He's pretty convinced cowpeas will put nitrogen in the soil. But he says the way that the nitrogen gets in the soil is the legumes will absorb the nitrogen from the air through whatever process they use. The cows will eat that, which tends to be high in protein, and then they will poop and pee it out. And that's how the nitrogen gets in the soil. So that's what he's convinced, that's how it happens. So that's something to think about too, is that if you grow a bunch of clover and it just sits there in the air saying hello all the time, it's not helping other plants grow. You got to have something come by, eat it, and poop it out. So hopefully this is enough land, and the goal is to get, he said, he listened, I told him that I'm doing a 3-month rotation, right? And he's like, oh, no, that's too much, that's too long. You're giving too much time for the ground to recover. He says you should do a 21-day rotation, a 3-week rotation. And I was thinking, like, 21 days in my pasture. So 3 weeks, that means each week I cover 20 acres. So the first week is a third of the pasture, the second week is another third of the pasture, and the third week is the third. That would be rapid grazing. And I said, what about the cattle density? Don't you need to get the cattle density up so they can trample stuff into the ground and stuff like that? And he's like, well, that's true to a degree, but the way you get the cattle density up is you got to nibble at the tips of the grass, and that wakes the grass up and helps it to grow. And you want to not get the grass down to the ground. So what I was doing in my last rotation is just too much abuse. The grass is going to take a long time to recover. And he has it down to a science. He says if I leave the cows in a paddock for 2 days, that's 5 extra days of recovery until I can put the cows back in. And so he has all those measurements in his field. The other thing is he is almost exclusively growing Bermuda grass, which, you know, sounds very strange. Don't you need a spring grass? And he says the spring grass can't compete with the Bermuda grass because it leaves so much ground cover that nothing can get through, right? And so the Bermuda grass grows extremely well in his pasture, so much so that his cows, he finishes them on grass and they are extremely fat and marbled. I think it also has to do with the breed of cows he's using, but he does Tuli crossed with the red Angus, and he says that's given him the best results. So, and I said, well, what if I AI with a Tuli bull? He's like, there's only one guy in the US that sells Tuli semen, and he's not selling right now. So I was like, oh, so I got to get a bull. He's like, well, the Tuli bulls aren't as good as the Tuli cows because the calves that the Tulis have, or they're way better at breeding. So anyway, I got some homework to do. I did not measure the rainfall. We got quite a bit of rain today. You can tell the field's wet. It's stormy. Right now it's not raining. It said it would rain, so we rushed out here and put up the new fence, expecting it to rain any moment, but it hasn't rained yet. There is quite a bit of wind though from the south. Nice warm, 68 degrees. Very warm. So I will have the cows just tip graze. I'll see what it looks like tomorrow morning, give you guys a video report. And I think we're gonna start more rapidly grazing. If I do 200 feet per row, that's 400 feet per week. That is, see, 2,560 divided by 4. What is that? 4 times 6. About 6 weeks rotation, right? And he says I should get to a 3-week rotation, so I should do 400 feet per row. I'm going to try 200 feet for a couple rows. I might bump it up to 300, starting in when I start the new cycle over again. But once the grass explodes, maybe I will do, 400-foot rows. I think that would be interesting to see what they do. Well, there should be plenty of forage here. I'm not feeding them. I just want to see what they do if they just eat. See how much they get. I've noticed their manure is more firm. I've noticed their butts aren't runny. And yeah, they have pretty clean butts. Is that number 24 over there? Oh my goodness, 24, you're looking so much better. Let me just show you 24. So that ridge on her back is starting to disappear. The hip bones are starting to sink in again. The ribs are starting to disappear. The ridge is, see, 24 doesn't like to be touched. She doesn't care too much. That's starting to fill in. Doesn't look like a hollow skeleton anymore. It's starting to fill in. That's nice. So hopefully 24 is going to be happy here with all of this additional grass. So he did give me some ideas for species that do well in this area for grazing cows on. And we will see what happens. That's my report. The bulls are still with their moms. I do need to separate them out soon. So have a great day, everybody. Take care and bye-bye.